Want to see how Jesmon can OTK the opponents out of nowhere? Then be sure to check this out.
Okay, so the first matchup today, we're going to have Jesmon play against Black Wargreymon, which is a black base and is also really interesting. But just jumping straight into our hand right here, because we're going second, I actually end up deciding to keep this hand. Although we don't have a rookie, that's totally okay. We have a couple of cards that we can actually play and search pieces and sort of help us manipulate the memory gauge a little bit in the early stages of the game, such as Tai, such as then following up with like a Sistermon's Shell afterwards. And we still have like the offense training right here. Right here, they did play the AVAULT, and apologize, there was a bit of a mistake. They were supposed to review the top 4, which they reviewed 3 instead. So keep in mind, guys, that AVAULT that's black and red reviews top 4 and searches top 4 instead of 3. But anyways, we're going to continue like we intend to do so. We're going to try and search and find pieces with Shell. We're trying to establish a Tai early on, so we have a lot of memory to work with. Tai is always great because it's going to give us a lot of security checks additionally. And we can really like play around by choking here very effectively. And again, still no rookie yet, but that's totally okay. Really important, again, we want to play cards that search, we want to play cards that help us draw, and we're finding a lot of really good pieces here. We're finding from Master Disciple, we're finding offense training as well, and we have more to play afterwards too. And they go into Black Wargreymon and take us out here and passing us back to 3, and you know, just makes sense to play the Tai again to give them as little memory to work with as possible. The black base Black Wargreymon is pretty strong when it comes to control because there's a lot of like interesting, intricate interactions and effects that can pull off when they redirect or when they block as well. And they're building up a big stack as well. And it's kind of scary because they're attacking into us as well, and they can control the board very nicely. But again, it doesn't really change our game plan. We're really, again, trying to find pieces slowly, bit by bit. And I'm confident enough because we have a lot to work with. And taking security is fine as well, because sometimes they might end up hitting like an option that we can utilize, or some value cards like Sistermon being in trash setup for us can be really good. So again, we're just going to continue, and we finally found a rookie with offense training. And I was deciding on which Huckmon I want to grab. I ended up actually choosing this BT7 one, just because I realized I really need to cycle for Sistermons. I realized in my hand, I don't have the shells that I'm looking for. And those are going to be really important to sort of bridge our gaps and bridge our combos later on, rather than grabbing the BT13 one, which gains a memory when we play a Sistermon. But that's why in this particular situation, grabbing that BT7 one was way more ideal, because we really need to find the shells. So here we're just missing we're not really missing pieces other than Shell at this point. You know, we can go into our Savior Huck the next turn. We can plan and go into a big combo. We have tons of resources to work with, and the opponent will continue to chip away security. And which again, we'll take it because, you know, like I mentioned, like a Sistermon CL here just landed in the trash, which we can actually utilize later on. So at this moment, we have to push up at this moment. We can't, you know, search anymore. We can't really do too much. Here I decide to play the Blanc to sort of like cycle through and try to find more pieces and dig deep as much as I can, but also utilizing AVAULT's, you know, reduction cost distribution to get into Savior Huck for potentially for free, because we also cracked it from Master Disciple, which allows us to sort of like the next time when we digivolve, reduce cost by 1. Still no shells in our hand at the moment, so we're continuing just to play these Blancs from the Jesmon starter deck to cycle cards. So really unfortunate, because if we do find a shell, we could have actually like bridged a lot more crazier combos. But at this point, that's why I went into the BT7 Huckmon, so then I can cycle through this and guarantee to hit this shell. Jesmon is really piece reliant at the end of the day, and seeing those pieces are really important, which is why I really opt in for a type of build that goes turbo search, all gas, no brakes, find pieces as quickly as possible. That's really the #1 goal here. So we do swing in, they do kind of choose to redirect / block with the Black Wargreymon, and they do stop their attack, but they get to like gain memory and sort of like pass back to their turn, which is kind of neat. So we can't go for the full combo here just yet. And we would swing in for a ton of security with Jesmon. You know, Jesmon's going to give security +1, Tai's going to give security +1. That's 3 checks in one go, and we get to unsuspend. We can potentially threaten the board very hardly there, and I think it just makes sense for them to block right there. And that's the best thing about Jesmon, because its main source of removal comes from attacking stuff with its strong DP, and it can potentially attack unsuspended stuff as well. It's a very good sort of counter matchup sometimes against like Wargreymon based decks, just because they have, even though they have protection, but it's mainly against effects. So battle protection, they're not as great as. So we can get big over Jesmon is always nice. Our board is sitting okay. They don't have enough, doesn't seem like they have enough memory to work with to sort of like close the game here as well, because they don't have extra damage. That's sort of the downside of black. You know, it has really good consistency, really good search, really good control, but it's not as aggro as a red one. So I think they're trying to decide what they want to go here. But overall, our board looks okay. You know, if they're not able to remove our board here, we also have Systemon Blanc for decoy too, which is nice. Our Jesmon sitting at pretty strong DP thanks to Systemon's Shell at the same time too. So we here, like, you know, if we can sort of, if they can't answer this board right now, this turn, then next turn we can really pop off and go crazy. So they do go for Gaio here. And the Gaio does de-digivolve one, but they end up choosing to de-digivolve Systemon. I think mainly they're trying to play around. They don't want us to get into Jesmon again. I think that was the whole process here, but they're not able to finish the game there too. So, but they still sit here with Gaiomon. It still has blocker, which is still kind of strong and quite okay, but I'm pretty confident that we can go over it in terms of DP. I do have Jesmon X here, and I'm contemplating if I want to get into it right away, but I kind of don't want to as well, because I want to utilize Jesmon's when attacking effect first to get the most value, and then maybe get into it afterwards, or even save it up, just because I can go for a Chimeramon play. But here again, I really want to see some shells, or maybe see what pieces I can find. You know, I'm contemplating if I can like somehow, you know, DNA right here beforehand, but I don't have 2 level 4s either. So I guess in the end, I was just like, you know what? Let's just go and attack, cycle through, find pieces again, finding shells, which is really good. I'm not sure what I was thinking here. I should be able to add both the shells. I don't know why I decided to add one of them, which was a bit of a misplay, but again, guys, keep in mind, I can definitely add both the shells, and I could have played the other shell as well if I wanted to. So apologies for that, but it doesn't change too much right here, because we're going to go for that big bang combo. We're going to finish the game right here with the OTK, which we're mainly really want to showcase here about. So we're going to go for lots of checks there. We ran into a Greymon with a security effect, which is kind of neat because it lets them play a play an Agumon, run into an X Antibody option as well. So we're losing a bit of memory, which is fine. And then we go into Jesmon X here then afterwards. Safest play is to swing over the Gaiomon just because, and then we ran into a tie here, but we still pierced, but we have 2 more attacks to follow up in the end, so we can easily close the game with both the Systemons to attack one at a time without having to complicate things too much. So we win just like that.
Check out the latest drop with the Divine Warriors and Regal Guardians playmats. We got tons of other cool merch on the AVAULT store, and if you're located in the US or Canada, you can even get free shipping for orders over $100. Thank you guys for all the support, and this wouldn't be happening without you.
Okay, so for the second game, we're going to be playing against one of the more hyped decks of BT14, which is Digipolice. And here, our hand looks pretty good because we have Rookie. Again, not super important, but really what I'm looking for is search cards. I see a line that I can potentially Digivolve through as well. I have the Huckmon that searches as well. So really, really good. I have offense training to utilize, you know, really good setup cards. And then of course the 5 and the 6. So it makes sense. And we're just going to go ahead and basically start searching, you know, go into Huckmon, find as many pieces as possible, grab as many, again, stack building pieces as possible too. And we basically see a full line. So what we're really just missing are just Systemons. And again, this is when the BT7 Huckmon is really good because it can help us cycle into Systemons later on when we need to. So all we have to focus on is just setup, play as many offense trainings as possible, play for Master Disciple if we can, play Huckmon again if we can, and yeah, just have a board ready to go. Really, what my personal favorite is to see the security +1 Greymon more so than the BAUHuckmon, just because the security +1 is very vital and crucial when it comes to sort of giving us that extra kill power, kill potential, and I like Digivolving into that the most. Here I decided to make for a small chip with Huckmon. You know, Huckmon seems to be surviving, but honestly, strategically and thinking back on it, it may not have been the best play just because we're giving the opponent a lot of value from that. It's great that the Huckmon survives, but I'd rather have it get deleted, because meaning we ran into options that they have right here. You guys can see we ran into Pride Memory Boost. They have so many cards to work with at the moment because of that. And they can instantly just explode and go into crazy wide board with Digipolice, which that is what that deck does really well. It's very consistent at going really wide, very quickly. And with all those resources, they can explosively just go like this. And look at that crazy setup they have. they're really just trying to gather and find pieces here. And at this moment, there's a very pivotal decision I'm just trying to decide here. I really want to move up because I have more than enough resources to actually utilize to go into a Jesmon X. And I can even swing over both of their bodies to get rid of it. But the only downside is we don't have a Sistermon. That's the only downside. And not having the Sistermon, we won't be able to swing over the unsuspended stuff, which is why in the end I decided to go for Huckmon. And it's a very tricky spot. It's a very difficult position to be in because sometimes with playing Jesmon, it is very piece reliant, and seeing the pieces at the right time specifically could mean all or nothing. So we end up just playing the Huckmon to search instead, which we found the Sistermon. So maybe in hindsight, I guess we should have just Digivolved and went for it because we could have easily cleared their board. But here now, we're just going to give them a ton of advantage because of that. Because here, they can just go really wide. They can go into their top end very quickly and easily and set up their defensive control board, which is going to be very problematic even for Jesmon to answer, because they can go crazy wide, surprisingly wider than Jesmon can even too. So, but yeah, unfortunately, you know, that's really all we could do there anyways. So they just begin to start to pop off, playing Cargo Dramons, Digivolving into them, getting their Numemons, putting more Satskis underneath, you know, giving their Digimon Rush. Even that Commandramon that was just played this turn gains Rush now because of all that. And they're just popping off and doing all their crazy combos basically. So our next turn is going to be tough. We're going to have to try and answer the board as much as we can. They even went to Brigadramon here now. They got their boss guy. So everything on their board essentially has blocker now. The defense lineup is really good. And there's a lot of pressure on there because they have so many Digimon. And it's just going to get crazier and nuts too. So that's one of the hardest matchups when it comes to Jesmon, like I mentioned. Finding pieces is really important, and not seeing them really slows you down and the potential of what it can do. But we're still okay. I feel like it's still playable. I don't think they can end us here just yet, which is why we still feel kind of comfortable. But you can see how good they're really good at cycling cards that they need, finding pieces they need, and now they just end with a double Brigadramon board in the end. And they basically, you know, get to play a ton of bodies like that. And again, all of them are blocker, which is pretty crazy. So we're gonna have to answer this. We have offense training right here. Again, not the greatest value. Having offense training is nice, but having a lot of those, not as much. Here, I was just contemplating on which Sistermon I want to play. I was thinking, oh, maybe I want to go for this one to Digivolve. I was thinking of the Blanc instead. I kind of want to get greedy because I really want to trash one card and sort of see if I can get into the Jesmon instead of Jesmon X Antibody first. And again, you know, sometimes the deck just doesn't work with you, right? And that is just what happens. And we don't see the regular Jesmon, which would have been nice because we can have utilized an extra offense training as well. But we still have one, but it's not really the best. So we decide to cycle through, but there it is. That's the other Jesmon. Still no other Sistermons can be found, you know, but we do have a couple to work with. We can swing in with Piercing too. But again, in hindsight, now looking at the board state, maybe we should have played a level 4 Sistermon, like a Xiao, the other Xiao. So we have 2 level 4s, and we could have easily went into a Chimera play and maybe find another level 6 off of that somehow. So again, it really sometimes showcases the trickiness when it comes to Jesmon. Especially against this kind of matchup too, which they can turbo very quickly and create this such wide board. And they have the protection, you know, by being, you know, by blocking with the Brigadramon, and then they get to use their protection with Commandramon, basically takes out Piercing too. So here we decide to utilize the offense training. Now we can go for the Chimeramon play. And then a little bit too late, I think we did end up finding the starter deck Jesmon. But we don't have enough memory to work with there in the end. We can tuck stuff in. We get to kind of like blow up their board a little bit. And I guess in hindsight, if I went to Chimeramon earlier, I could have like kind of wiped their board a little bit more. But they have a lot of floating capabilities just from that. We go from Blitz here again and try to swing over something, but we don't do Piercing either. And we could kind of play like a Sistermon as well and cycle through at the same time, choosing what we want to play here. But really, I guess, yeah, we can go for the Xiao just to gain a bit more memory, give them as little as possible. But again, they have floating capabilities because on deletion with that command run is really good. They cycle the deck way faster compared to us, as you guys can see, and they have such a wide board. They're easy to swing into us. We don't have any defense. We don't have the system on blocker to sort of like protect us either at this moment. So I think it's kind of doom. Yeah, looking kind of doomed for us. They cycle their entire deck, which is actually crazy in the end, and they still get to play things continuously and then just attack, and they have rush too.
And don't forget to check out the AVAULT store for some awesome merch. If you guys want to see more BT14 gameplay videos, be sure to check them out right here as well. As always, you guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video, and this is AVAULT signing out.